Hey everybody, Arnaldo here, broadcasting from Fidelius Frequency. Welcome to my channel. Record Store Day has passed, and I thought I'd give you guys a recap of how my day went, how successful I was in finding the things that were on my wish list, and just to give you a preview of what's inside some of the releases that I picked up. I've listened to all of them, so I'll give you my honest opinion on the things that I picked up. So the day started pretty early. Wake up at 5 o'clock, get ready really quick, and pour the coffee, which was already brewing, into the travel mugs and head out to Long Island in New York, Amityville, New York, to my store of preference for many purchases aside from Record Store Day, and that is right here, High Fidelity Records and CDs. So out to Long Island and get there around 6 o'clock to find out that, of course, parking lot is already quite full. And the line was a bit longer than I expected. Typically, I get there always around 6 o'clock, and the past years I've noticed that I have been farther and farther behind in the line. So I think maybe next year I'll head out a little bit earlier. I was number 26 in line compared to, I think, Black Friday and the previous Record Store Day when I was around. I was within the first 15 people in line, and that's kind of important for queuing up at High Fidelity Records and CDs, because the first 15 to 18 people in line give usually a list to the store owner, and they prepare all the releases that are on your list in a pile to make the shopping experience a lot easier. Shout out to Mark, owner of High Fidelity Records and CDs, and to the entire staff who made it a very pleasant, very easy shopping experience, and offered some donuts and some swag to go along with the purchases. I saw that other record stores also offered this as a giveaway for whoever participated and shopped at Record Store Day, a poster celebrating Record Store Day, as well as a small tote sponsoring the event, Record Store Day 2026, which came in, I wouldn't say it came in handy. It's not huge, but it's great if you're shopping around for a few records, and it's easy to store and fold around, so it'll come in handy in the future. And now let me show you what I picked up at High Fidelity Records and CDs. First off, we'll start with a live album, and that is the Steely Dan Alive in America, an album from that comes from their performances and their tour from 94 and 95, as the hype sticker shows, and it is the first time it is being released on vinyl. I think I may have gotten one of the last copies at the store, but very happy to have found it. I'll show you briefly. Normal cardstock gatefold, replicating the artwork from the original release on CD. And here's the back. There is an insert that has some credits on it, and I will show that to you. And it is a double disc. I'll only show you one of the discs to not bore you any further, but it did come, as you see, in polyline sleeves and pressed on black vinyl, and right here. And I cannot say any better things about this release. For those of you that are familiar with Steely Dan, I would say all of their albums are impeccably recorded, and this one, for being a live album, is perfect. The recording is fantastic, and it was cut to vinyl by Bernie Grundman. If you're a fan of Steely Dan and you happen to see any copies around still available on online stores, don't hesitate to pick this up. This release was really, really well done. Had no issues with the vinyl. It was quiet. It sounds fantastic. Haven't compared it to my original CD because at the time I bought the CD, but I am very happy it is now available on vinyl and very well done. From one live album to another, the next one is by Suede, the London Suede, known in America because of copyright reasons. This is an album that was recorded, let's say, by the BBC, even though not at the BBC. I guess it comes from certain broadcasts that the BBC made, and it features the entire third album by Suede coming up, released as a live version. And of course, this is for the first time ever on vinyl. It's never been released before, but pretty sparse kind of artwork. And the inner has some also kind of sparse artwork. The London Suede here. I would have loved to have the UK version, which has the official name of the band called Suede, but beggars can't be choosers. It was probably a lot harder to find an import copy, and the copy of the vinyl is quite spectacular. Really, really bright. I want to say hot pink. And how does it sound? Well, the pressing itself is actually very good. I have my doubts on the source material. Unlike the Steely Dan that I talked about before, some of these shows weren't really perfectly recorded. They do sound fine. They're not bootlegs or anything. They were professionally recorded. It's just that maybe the mix is a little bass heavy, but I can't complain because there's nothing else to compare it to. I just would have liked, of course, Spoiled by the Steely Dan, which has a pristine rendering of the live show. This one is okay. You know, I guess it's for collectors, for fans. The London Suede, or Suede, coming up at the BBC Live. So from Suede to a Suede-related project, and that would be The Tears. Here Come the Tears is the name of the album. Bernard Butler was the founding member of Suede, and along with Brett Anderson, the main songwriters of the band Suede up until the second album, after which Bernard Butler left the group and Brett Anderson continued with the name Suede for at least 3 or 4 albums until they kind of called it quits, or in hindsight, went on hiatus. And during that time, he released a solo album and made peace, I guess, with Bernard Butler because they reunited for this project called The Tears. The album was originally released in 2005 on vinyl and has not been repressed since. At the time I bought the CD, I haven't had a chance to compare it to the CD, but I'll share my thoughts in a bit regarding the sound and of this pressing. But let me show you. Came with a hype sticker, first ever vinyl release, and this one is pressed on ultra clear vinyl. The back cover, nicely replicated, also comes with an inner sleeve, picture inner sleeve, heavy cardstock. The record itself sounds pretty good. There was one instance where there was a little bit of crackle. Not sure if in one song if it will clear up if I clean it, put it through the ultrasonic cleaner, but it was flat and for the most part silent. As far as the mastering, I really can't comment because I haven't had a chance to compare it to the original release on CD. I don't remember it sounding the way it did. It's a bit thin and maybe a little bit compressed, but it could be that's how it was originally released. So maybe check back the video for comments if I post an update on how it really compares to the original release. But welcome return of this album in print on vinyl for Record Store Day, The Tears. So another live album I picked up. As you probably know, Record Store Day is known for releasing a lot of live albums. I try to keep it to a minimum. Only buy them when I really enjoy the album or the artist. And for this artist in question, this was never released on vinyl originally. So a welcome release of Madonna's The Confessions tour, and really well done, I would have to say. The hype sticker doesn't mention that this is the first time it was released, but I did some research on Discogs and I couldn't find another vinyl release for the Confessions tour. Here's the back of it with the disco ball, and nice touch on the inner, which is colored as this call it pink, purple pink. From a design perspective, really well, very well done with these inner sleeves that are glossy. Mind you, also the cover is high gloss. And this splatter purple pink vinyl, and with Madonna on logo on the rear of them. The only problem I have is, yeah, they're beautiful from a design perspective, but this die cut, which is very large, leaves some of the grooves, the majority of the grooves, exposed. So I highly recommend put them in polylined inner sleeves or blank inner sleeves, because they'll accumulate a lot of dust with this die cut type of design. 2LP, I'll just show you one of them. Here's the one with the horse. And the other one has a label with the silhouette of Madonna. And the other side also has a label indicating the credits and the songs. And the second inner sleeve does have all of the credits. The album was cut by Joe Nino Hernandez. No issues on the sound quality. It does sound very, very much alive, bass heavy. Quite impressive for a live album. Not quite as impressive as the Steely Dan that I talked about, but they did a pretty good job with the vinyl cut of the album. I did have a little instance, it may go away after I clean it, of maybe, I'm not sure if it was non-fill or just debris that's on the record, but overall a solid release by Madonna's The Confessions Tour. Next release I picked up is the special Kiss album for their summer tour, and it features the 4 singles that were released off of the Destroyer album. This was originally, back in the day when it came out, I think it was 1976. It was released only as a promo, and it's being re-released for Record Store Day. I think they did a very high pressing of this run, and I'm pretty sure you could still find it around. Pretty simple artwork replicating the original promo, but they added a nice touch because they made this the lettering in spot varnish, and also on the back it has the track listing and the 4 singles that were taken from Destroyer and included on this EP. You see it right here: Beth, Do You Love Me, Flaming Youth, and Detroit Rock City. Really cool thing about this release is that it is pressed at 45 RPM on black and white splatter vinyl, and I have to say I'm a little underwhelmed by the splatter because there's not much of it, right? Or at least on the copy that I got, the splatter is more towards the center. Really nice label of Kiss circa the 1976 tour. Even the other side you can see is there's not much splatter. But I have to say that it is impeccably pressed at 45 RPM. The songs really come alive. I'm not sure if it comes from the recent remaster of Destroyer, which celebrates this year the 50th anniversary, but I really like how these 4 songs sound on this EP. So if you're a Kiss fan, or if you just like these 4 singles that came out from the Destroyer album, highly recommend it. A special album or a special release it's really, they call it an album, but it's really an EP from Kiss. Every Record Store Day has always at least one David Bowie release on vinyl, and this year there were 2. Specifically, one I did not get because I already have a copy of the excerpts from Outside, which originally did not fit in the original configuration when it was released in '95 on a single album. So they called it the excerpts, and it was a shorter version of the album. I have that. I think I have a pressing from Music on Vinyl. And this year they released the half speed cut mastered at Abbey Road. So I figured on clear vinyl, and I figured I really don't need another duplicate. Second release, which is the one that I did want to get, is a 12-inch single, or an EP. I'd rather call it a 12-inch single because it's the same song but in different versions. And that is one of the standout tracks from Outside, called Hello Space Boy. And here's the rear of it. Nice touch on the inside. They made it colored black of the inner, and it has 6 versions of Hello Space Boy, and I like them all. There is the Pet Shop Boys remix, the single version, the 12-inch version of the Pet Shop Boys, and which is a fantastic remix of the song, and the instrumental version. And there's one extra version that has never been released before, and that is the Tim Simonon version of Hello Space Boy. This came, luckily, in a black polyline sleeve, thankfully. And I think pink must be a trend because this also came in a pink, but similar to the Madonna, but on almost a kind of like an opaque or semi-translucent. Really well pressed. I'm not sure where, uh, but it is really well done. So no complaints. And if you're a David Bowie fan, Hello Space Boy, the 12-inch. Another band that has been releasing vinyl on every record store day, at least the last 4 record store days have seen a release from the Thievery Corporation. And this record store day, we got Culture of Fear. And I got this because I really enjoy Thievery Corporation, but the releases up until now have been spectacular. I loved every single one of them. Hype sticker gives us a little bit of information. Let me show you the inside. They're really nicely curated from a design perspective. They all come with picture inner sleeves. I'm not sure the original version came in a picture inner sleeve, but here we have 2 of them because it is spread across 2 discs. Although the original album, when it came out, was at double 45 and spread across 4 discs, for this release, they instead went with spreading the album across 3 sides, and the 4th side is an etching. But let me show you more reddish pink. I think this is more like a magenta. This is the first record in the package. And the second one is on black vinyl. And if you see here, the etching on side 4. I had my doubts on when I first read the specs of the release that they were changing the configuration from a double 45 to a 33, spread across 3 sides instead of 4. And I don't have the original on double 45, but I cannot imagine this album sounding any better at double 45. Still, there's not a lot of music spread across the 3 sides, maybe 15 minutes of music per side, and it does still sound fantastic. The only thing I will say, the previous releases had heavy cardstock. Not quite tip-on, but heavy cardstock. This one is more standard, so maybe the costs have risen to produce a heavy cardstock. That would be my only complaint, is that probably it could have been similar to the other cardstock for the other releases. I don't think musically it's as good as the previous 3. Has a lot of maybe influences from reggae and dub. There are, of course, multicultural influences. I think there's actually a track that sounds more soul and funk, but solid release nonetheless from the Thievery Corporation. The last album, but not the last release, that I'll be showing you for my Record Store Day pickups is Night Flights by the Walker Brothers. Scott Walker was part of the Walker Brothers. This is, I think, yeah, this is their final studio album together in 1978. I was looking forward to this. Let me show you the inside of it. I was looking forward to it because I was really curious about the mastering. And as you can see here, it looks like it was sourced from the analog tape, or it says here, cut from the analog tape. And it is pressed on clear vinyl. And thankfully, they also included a polyline sleeve and the original GTO, I think it's the original GTO label. For me, they did an excellent job on this release. Again, I don't have anything else to compare it to. I was reading in the Discogs comments that someone was saying the music on vinyl version is superior and has more detail. I can't comment on that. Maybe someone else who does have that and also picked this one up can give further insight, but I'm very happy with how this one sounds. The first side is probably the best side. It has all of the Scott Walker songs. The second side, it's more of like art rock, something that's comparable to what Roxy Music was doing around Manifesto and the Flesh and Blood album. So a little on the light art rock, but nonetheless, I enjoy specifically side one of this record. It has Night Flights, which was also covered by David Bowie on his Black Tie White Noise album. So the Walker Brothers. And the last thing that I picked up on Record Store Day, I think, um, there were so many of these, and I think word spread out that there's no rush to get these because there weren't that many Taylor Swift fans in line to get the Elizabeth Taylor single. As you can see, I didn't open it. You probably could see pictures online. It is this glitter purple vinyl. Um, I have the other two singles from the Taylor Swift album, so I figured for sake of being complete, I'd get this one as well. It seems like everyone has leftovers of this single. They probably did a run of like 50 or 60,000. So yeah, there's your Taylor Swift release that didn't clog up the lines at Record Store Day. So let me know what you picked up on your Record Store Day shopping spree if you went, and also some feedback on some of the things that I showed you if you picked those up as well. And if you agree or disagree with me, I'd love to hear more about it. Check out the other Record Store Day releases that I previewed in another video on my channel. And I guess that wraps it up for this video and for the 2026 Record Store Day. Before you leave, don't forget to like, dislike, share the video with friends, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. It is totally free. That's all for today, other than thanking you very much for your attention and for your time. I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.